Welcome to our channel. We reveal the shocking dark side of Hollywood's beauty obsession. Imagine having those iconic looks that millions adore, only to watch them fade away after going under the knife one too many times. From subtle procedures that spiraled out of control to complete facial overhauls, these once gorgeous stars are now nearly unrecognizable. Get ready as we dive into the cautionary tales of famous celebrities whose pursuit of perfection turned into a nightmare. Donatella Versace. What a transformation journey. This fashion powerhouse once embodied classic Italian elegance, especially in the late 90s after the tragic loss of her brother, Gianni Versace. But as the 2000s rolled around, fans couldn't help but notice that Donatella's iconic look was starting to change. And not in the subtle way she might have hoped. The first major change? Her nose. What was once a naturally broader feature became suspiciously more refined, hinting at rhinoplasty. And that was just the beginning. Her smooth, lively complexion soon took on a wax-like tightness, likely from multiple facelifts that left her skin looking permanently pulled. Then there were the lips. Oh, those lips. Once understated, they swelled into an exaggerated pout, thanks to fillers that had everyone talking. Not to be outdone, her cheeks appeared fuller and more sculpted, suggesting cheek fillers or implants that gave her face a striking, almost unrecognizable look. Even her eyes got the treatment, likely with a blepharoplasty to lift those lids and erase any trace of puffiness. In the end, Donatella's transformation became a topic of endless debate in Hollywood. But while her journey was all about keeping up appearances, wait until you hear about the next celebrity who went under the knife and ended up with a completely different kind of story. Carol Bryan's story is a cautionary tale that proves beauty shortcuts can take a sharp detour into disaster. This Florida native thought she was just getting a little touch-up when she opted for dermal fillers in 2009 at the age of 47. But instead of the youthful glow she hoped for, Carol found herself facing a nightmare. Thanks to a mix-up involving silicone and other fillers injected into her forehead and cheeks, her face began to swell like a balloon on the verge of popping. Within months, things got so out of hand that her forehead actually drooped over her eyes, making it nearly impossible for her to see without resorting to taping her skin back. Yes, seriously. The ordeal left her with a face that seemed to change shape daily as the fillers expanded and contracted in ways that defied all logic. Desperate to fix the damage, Carol tried corrective surgeries, but they only made things worse. After years of isolation and hiding from the world, she finally found a lifeline in Dr. Reza Jarrahi and Dr. Brian Boyd, who performed an intense 17-hour surgery to rebuild her forehead. While they managed to save her life, she tragically lost vision in one eye. Today, Carol's journey has transformed her into an advocate for safer cosmetic practices, warning others of the hidden risks lurking behind quick-fix procedures. Joselyn Wildenstein, better known as Catwoman in the tabloids, might just hold the title for one of the most dramatic facial overhauls in history. Her cosmetic journey kicked off in the 1990s during her marriage to billionaire Alec Wildenstein. Inspired by her husband's love for exotic cats, Joselyn took the idea of beauty to a whole new and very literal level. And when we say she went all out, we're talking millions spent on surgeries to achieve those feline features. The most iconic part of her transformation? Her eyes. After multiple blepharoplasty procedures, her eyes took on that permanent upward slant, giving her a constant, mysterious cat gaze. And let's not skip over those cheekbones. Thanks to implants and fillers, her face now sports angles that could probably cut through glass. Critics have called it extreme, but Joselyn insists her look is all about embracing her unique Swiss heritage, not a result of going overboard with the scalpel. Today, at 84, Joselyn is still living her best socialite life, completely unbothered by all the chatter. While her quest for feline beauty has made her a legend in the world of extreme makeovers, the next story is about a celebrity whose transformation was more of a cautionary tale than a fashion statement. Raji Narang's story is one of the wildest cautionary tales in the world of cosmetic procedures gone horribly wrong. Back in 2005, Raji was looking to enhance her facial features on a budget, but instead of a beauty boost, she ended up with a nightmare. The so-called doctor she trusted gave her injections that were less medical grade and more hardware store special, a toxic mix of cement, tire sealant, and mineral oil. The result? Her skin hardened into painful, lumpy masses that left her cheeks looking like a botched sculpture project. Raji's cheeks, which she had hoped would look fuller and more contoured, became bumpy and misshapen, making her nearly unrecognizable. For years, she hid away from the public, feeling too ashamed to show her face. It wasn't until she bravely appeared on the show Botched that skilled surgeons stepped in to repair some of the damage. Even then, doctors couldn't fully remove the substances without risking more harm, leaving some nodules still visible beneath her skin. Despite everything, Raji turned her story into one of resilience. Today, she embraces her unique journey and speaks out to warn others about the dangers of black market procedures. While her tale is one of hard-earned recovery, the next celebrity on our list chose cosmetic surgery in a way that left everyone speechless, but for completely different reasons. If you want to explore the journey with me, please leave number 1 and watch this video until the end. Interesting things are waiting for you in the video. Eygor and Grisha Bogdanov, the iconic French twins whose faces became more famous than their TV careers, but definitely not for the reasons they expected. In the 70s, they gained fame for their work in science fiction television, captivating audiences with their sharp jaws, high cheekbones, and dashing looks. But starting in the late 90s, their appearance took a turn that left everyone scratching their heads. Though they claimed it was all due to technological experiments, yes, really, the world couldn't help but suspect a bit of help from the surgeon's scalpel. One of the most eye-catching changes, those sky-high, bulbous cheekbones that seemed to defy the laws of anatomy. By the early 2000s, their faces looked stretched and alien-like, thanks to exaggerated chins and overly plumped lips. Add in a healthy dose of Botox and fillers, and their skin took on a smooth, almost waxy texture that wouldn't look out of place in a sci-fi flick. By the time they showed up at events like the Cannes Film Festival in 2009, their transformation was so extreme it sparked global chatter. Fans and critics alike started calling their look extraterrestrial, a nickname the brothers cheekily embraced. But while their otherworldly transformation left many people speechless, the next celebrity took facial enhancements to an even more jaw-dropping level. Anastasia Pavlov, talk about pushing the boundaries of beauty. This Ukrainian model and influencer has made a name for herself with one of the most extreme transformations in the cosmetic world, proudly holding the title for having the world's biggest cheeks. Starting her journey in her 20s, what began as a few subtle tweaks quickly snowballed into a look that's impossible to miss. Her cheeks are now filled to such an extent that they give her face an almost sculpted, angular appearance, turning heads for all the wild reasons. But the cheeks are just the beginning. To keep up with her new, exaggerated look, Anastasia also enhanced her lips, chin, and jawline, creating an overall aesthetic that's anything but subtle. The result? A dramatic, high-impact transformation that's as far from her youthful, natural look as you can get. Critics may call her appearance unnatural, but Anastasia couldn't be happier. She's openly shared that before her surgeries, she felt like a gray mouse, but now she sees herself as exotic and one of a kind. While her bold features certainly make a statement, Anastasia insists that her newfound confidence is worth every injection. Mickey Rourke's story shows that even when cosmetic surgery is necessary, the results can be a mixed bag. Back in the 1980s, Rourke was the epitome of rugged charm, with roles in films like 912 Weeks and Angel Heart cementing his status as a Hollywood heartthrob. But after stepping into the boxing ring, multiple facial injuries led him to undergo several surgeries to fix the damage. With 5 nose surgeries and extensive work on his shattered cheekbones, it seemed like a reasonable attempt to restore his former looks. However, things didn't quite go as planned. Post-surgery, Mickey's once chiseled features took on a more swollen, rounded appearance. His cheekbones, once sharp and defined, now looked fuller but oddly sculpted. Add in Botox and fillers, and his face developed a tight, almost wax-like smoothness, especially around the forehead and lips. Fans were torn. Some felt sympathy for the necessity behind his surgeries, while others couldn't help but criticize the drastic changes. In recent years, Mickey has been brutally honest, admitting that he went to the wrong guy for his repairs. Yet despite the physical changes, his talent never wavered. His powerful performance in The Wrestler reminded everyone that even if his appearance has evolved, his acting chops remain intact. Courtney Cox, proof that even Hollywood's most beloved faces can get caught up in the quest to turn back time. Known to millions as the fresh-faced Monica Geller from Friends, Courtney began her journey with cosmetic tweaks in a bid to stay youthful. It all started innocently enough with a little Botox here, a few fillers there, but over time, those subtle enhancements snowballed. Soon, her cheeks and forehead took on a tighter, more rigid appearance, leaving fans wondering why her once expressive features seemed so frozen. Courtney hasn't shied away from talking about her regrets. She candidly admitted that the fillers left her looking so unnatural that even she didn't recognize herself in the mirror. What was once a face known for its lively expressions became stiff, with cheeks that looked overly plumped and skin so taut it was giving doll vibes. The issue? The more she added, the more she felt like she needed to balance things out, leading to what she described as a domino effect of treatments. In 2017, she made the bold decision to dissolve her fillers and embrace her natural look, realizing that trying to freeze time came at too high a cost. Now, Courtney's all about letting those smile lines show, proving that aging gracefully can be even more beautiful. Priscilla Presley's story is a classic case of one cosmetic blunder spiraling into years of regret. Once celebrated for her timeless beauty, Priscilla's transformation took a disastrous turn back in 2003 when she made the unfortunate choice of trusting an unlicensed doctor, Daniel Serrano. This so-called doctor injected her face with industrial-grade silicone. Yes, the stuff they use for car parts, leaving her with lumps, paralysis, and scars. The result? A stiff, mask-like appearance that robbed her of her natural charm, particularly around her cheeks and lips. Despite trying to undo the damage with corrective surgery in 2008, the effects of that botched procedure were hard to shake. Her once beautiful high cheekbones turned puffy and overly filled, while her lips looked uncomfortably plumped. With additional facelifts and Botox, her face took on a waxy, stretched look, leaving her forehead and eyes almost frozen in place. That soft, expressive look that fans adored, practically erased. Things only got more complicated in 2019, when she underwent surgery to remove cancerous tissue from her nose. This procedure reportedly deepened her fixation with cosmetic work, leading her to seek even more treatments to cover up scars. Today, Priscilla's pursuit of eternal youth has left her looking almost unrecognizable from her Hollywood glory days. Sharon Osborne, when even your partner can't recognize you, you know that cosmetic tweak went way off track. Always one to keep it real, Sharon has been super candid about her adventures in plastic surgery. She's openly shared, "I've had my boobies done twice, facelift, neck, but I've never touched my eyes or lips. No lippies for me." But it was her facelift in 2021 that really left its mark, and not in a good way. What she expected to be a simple refresh turned into a horror show. The surgery left her looking so off-kilter that Sharon joked she resembled Quasimodo, with one eye higher than the other and a twisted smile to match. The 5.5-hour procedure pulled her cheeks so tight, it gave her that stretched, almost frozen look that even CGI couldn't replicate. It wasn't just the look that was off. Sharon experienced significant pain during recovery and deeply regretted the decision. Even her husband, Ozzy, was taken aback by her new appearance, which says a lot considering his love for all things bizarre. This wasn't Sharon's first rodeo with facelifts. She's been through the ringer before, with procedures in 1987 and 2002. But after this latest disaster, she's officially thrown in the towel, vowing she's done with altering her looks. Katie Price. When you've had so many tweaks and nips, you have to wonder, do you even recognize yourself in the mirror? Once known for her natural beauty during her early modeling days, Katie has taken her love for cosmetic procedures to a whole new level. At this point, her transformation journey feels like it's never-ending. Her latest adventure? A 6th facelift that left her face so tight, it looks like it's been vacuum sealed. The exaggerated lift around her brows gives her that permanently arched, Spock-like expression, something she's openly admitted she plans to fix in the next round of surgeries. Her cheeks, now plumped to the max with fillers, have shifted from the soft, natural contours she once had to a more exaggerated, almost doll-like fullness. And let's not forget those lips, which have been enhanced so many times, they look like they're always ready for a selfie. As for her nose, multiple rhinoplasties have turned it into a more sculpted, pinched version of its former self. But despite the critics, Katie isn't backing down. She's unapologetically compared her cosmetic touch-ups to routine car maintenance. Why stop when you can just keep upgrading? While Katie's transformations have been anything but subtle, she remains determined to perfect her look, even if it means more trips to the surgeon. Carrot Top, Hollywood's most famous red-headed comedian, has undergone one of the most talked-about transformations, and not just because of his outrageous props. Scott Thompson, better known by his stage name Carrot Top, has been dodging plastic surgery rumors for over a decade. Despite his repeated denials, fans can't help but notice that his face has changed more than the punchlines in his jokes. Let's talk about those brows. They've gone from natural to unnaturally arched, leading many to suspect a sneaky brow lift. And his once angular face? Now it's looking a whole lot fuller, sparking whispers of cheek implants or fillers. Add in the fact that his skin has transformed from a bit rough around the edges to flawlessly smooth, and people are convinced he's had some help from Botox or chemical peels. But Carrot Top swears it's all thanks to his hardcore workout routine and a healthy lifestyle. He's even joked that if he really had plastic surgery, he'd hope to look better than he does. Whether it's the gym or the surgeon's office that's behind his transformation, one thing's for sure. Carrot Top's ever-changing look keeps everyone talking. But if you think his journey was wild, wait until you hear about the next celebrity who took their plastic surgery obsession to jaw-dropping extremes. When it comes to plastic surgery obsession, few stories are as wild as that of Pete Burns. The flamboyant lead singer of Dead or Alive became just as famous for his ever-evolving face as he did for his 1980s hit You Spin Me Round. It all started innocently enough with a rhinoplasty to fix a broken nose, but that was just the beginning of Pete's transformation roller coaster. What followed was a whirlwind of procedures that turned his appearance into something almost unrecognizable. Let's talk about that nose. It went through 4 surgeries, each one making it smaller, sharper, and narrower until it looked like it belonged on a different face entirely. Once Pete got a taste for change, he didn't stop there. Cheekbone implants gave him that ultra-angular, sculpted look, making his cheeks so prominent they could practically cast shadows. But the pièce de résistance? His lips. After not 1, but 2 lip augmentations, Pete ended up with lips so plump they looked ready to burst. In fact, complications from fillers got so bad that he eventually needed emergency surgery just to be able to open his mouth without pain. By the time he was done, Pete had reportedly undergone over 300 procedures, leaving his face drastically altered and making him a walking cautionary tale. Janice Dickinson. When it comes to chasing eternal youth, no one did it quite like her. Once crowned the world's first supermodel, Janice took her beauty game to extreme levels, transforming herself in ways even she couldn't have predicted. It all started innocently enough in her early 30s with a little breast augmentation. But oh boy, did things snowball from there. By the time she became a reality TV favorite, Janice had gone through multiple facelifts, liposuction sessions, and enough Botox to keep an entire spa in business. Her facelifts left her skin taut, so smooth you'd think she was trying to channel a wax statue version of herself. But that tightness came at a cost. It smoothed out the natural contours that once made her face so striking. The cheek implants gave her a sculpted look, but when paired with Botox and fillers, her expressions became as stiff as her comeback lines. And let's not forget about those lips. Plumped up to the max, they quickly became a focal point, often drawing more stares than compliments. Yet through all the public scrutiny, Janice remained as unapologetic as ever. She even made an appearance on Botched to fix a 30-year-old breast surgery gone wrong. But all that nipping and tucking didn't come cheap. It eventually led to financial troubles that ended in her filing for bankruptcy in 2013 over unpaid cosmetic bills. Simon Cowell. When your own kid asks what happened to your face, you know it's time to rethink your beauty regimen. The infamous music mogul and TV personality has been as open about his plastic surgery escapades as he's been ruthless with contestants. It all began innocently enough with a few Botox injections to keep those pesky wrinkles at bay, but Simon's quest for youth quickly escalated into more invasive territory. The real kicker? Those facelifts. What started as an attempt to turn back the clock ended up stretching his skin so tight, it looked like he was caught in a perpetual wind tunnel. His cheeks, once chiseled and defined, were lifted so high they practically touched his hairline, leaving him with a slightly startled expression. And let's talk about that jawline. Once his defining feature, it became softer and blurred, losing the sharp edges that made him look, well, like Simon Cowell. Even his eyes weren't safe. A couple of eyelid surgeries later, and he was left with lids so tight it seemed like he was always on the lookout for the next pop star. But the harshest critique came from his own son, little Eric, who couldn't help but wonder what had happened to Dad's face. Simon has since admitted that maybe he took things a bit too far, even comparing his look to something out of a horror film. Joan Rivers. Imagine going under the knife so many times that even your own reflection starts to feel like a stranger. The legendary comedian and TV host was just as known for her love affair with plastic surgery as she was for her razor-sharp wit. Joan dove into the world of cosmetic tweaks early, starting with an eye lift at the age of 32. From there, she never looked back, adding facelifts, Botox, nose jobs, and liposuction to her ever-growing list of enhancements. And she wasn't shy about it either. She owned it all with her trademark humor. Over the years, Joan's face went from naturally expressive to something much more polished. Her once soft, rounded features tightened up, especially after multiple facelifts and a brow lift that left her forehead smoother than a marble countertop. but just as stiff. The regular doses of Botox and fillers erased every hint of a wrinkle, but also left her with a face that didn't move much, turning her once vibrant expressions into something more doll-like. And that nose. After a few rhinoplasties, it became daintier, adding a touch more symmetry to her already transformed face. But Joan was never one to back down from a little criticism. She joked about her plastic surgery adventures, famously quipping that she was the poster girl for plastic surgery. While some may have called her look excessively altered, Joan embraced every procedure with pride. Heidi Montag, when one surgery just won't cut it, why not go for 10 in a single day? The reality TV star, best known for her role on The Hills, shocked everyone back in 2010 when she decided to undergo a jaw-dropping 10 plastic surgery procedures all at once. Talk about an extreme makeover. What started as a quest for perfection turned her fresh, natural look into something nearly unrecognizable overnight, sparking both fascination and controversy. Among the most drastic changes were those cheek implants, which swapped her once soft features for a more chiseled, sculpted look. And let's not forget the chin reduction that, instead of adding balance, left her jawline looking sharper than ever. Her second nose job refined her bridge and tip, creating a more pronounced and narrow profile. Oh, and that brow lift? It left her with a permanently surprised expression that made her eyes look almost cartoonishly wide. To top it all off, lip injections gave her that plumped pout that some fans found over the top. The result? A completely transformed face that left fans and critics divided. Some applauded her for boldly owning her choices, while others couldn't help but wonder if she'd taken things way too far in the name of beauty. Amanda Lepore. When it comes to transforming your look, she didn't just go big, she went legendary. Imagine altering yourself so drastically that you're practically a walking work of art. Amanda, a fixture in New York's nightlife and fashion scene, has turned heads for decades with her larger-than-life transformation. It all started when she was just a teenager. At 15, she had her first rhinoplasty, followed by gender reassignment surgery at 17. But that was only the beginning of her cosmetic adventure. Her enhancements include lip augmentations, multiple nose jobs, cheek implants, and an eyebrow lift to craft her signature pin-up look. Those plumped lips and heart-shaped cheeks? Purely intentional. And if you think that's extreme, she took it to the next level by removing some of her lower ribs to achieve an impossibly tiny waist. Now that's dedication to the hourglass figure. Her eyelid surgeries gave her that permanently wide-eyed, doll-like gaze, while Botox and fillers keep her skin as smooth as porcelain. Despite all the naysayers who've criticized her exaggerated appearance, Amanda owns her look like no one else. She's famously declared herself to have the most expensive body on Earth and wouldn't change a thing. Lara Flynn Bole. When the quest for eternal youth takes a detour, it can leave even Hollywood's finest almost unrecognizable. Once celebrated for her captivating roles in Twin Peaks and The Practice, Lara's changing appearance has sparked as much chatter as her acting chops. It all started in her 30s when the pressures of aging in Hollywood nudged her toward cosmetic procedures. From rhinoplasty and lip augmentation to Botox, and likely a brow lift and facelift, Lara went all in. The results? Her once sharp, natural features slowly became puffier and more swollen. Her lips, once subtle, transformed into something noticeably plumped and stretched, giving them a constantly swollen look. And let's not forget the Botox and fillers. They left her skin so smooth and tight it looked like she was in a perpetual battle with gravity. Her forehead and cheeks became so frozen that any hint of expression seemed to vanish, turning her once animated face into something more mask-like. Despite all the speculation, Lara has stayed tight-lipped, pun intended, about her cosmetic journey, leaving fans and experts guessing about the extent of her transformations. Yet, she remains an enigmatic figure, recently making a quiet comeback with roles in films like Death in Texas. Lil Kim. Her transformation has had more plot twists than a soap opera. What started out as a necessity turned into one of the most dramatic journeys in cosmetic history. Reportedly, Lil Kim's initial foray into plastic surgery was prompted by domestic abuse, which left her with a broken nose that needed multiple reconstructive surgeries. But once she entered the world of cosmetic tweaks, things snowballed from there. After that first rhinoplasty, her nose kept getting smaller and more defined, to the point where it was almost unrecognizable from her early music video days. But it didn't stop at her nose. Her cheeks underwent a major glow-up with the help of dermal fillers, giving her a fuller, sculpted look that was a far cry from her natural features. Combine that with a heavy dose of Botox, and her skin became so smooth and tight, you'd think she was permanently airbrushed. Unfortunately, it also meant her facial expressions were limited, leaving her looking a bit frozen in time. And then there's the speculation around her skin tone, which has noticeably lightened over the years. While fans and critics alike have speculated about skin bleaching, Lil Kim has consistently denied these rumors. Let's not forget those lips, plumped up to the max with likely lip augmentation, adding to her ever-changing look.
Thank you for watching my video. There are many other interesting things in the next videos. Please look forward to it. Thank you and goodbye.